All for One's Guide to a Peaceful Retirement, written by ScottishSunshine and read for you by Eleanor Elizabeth. Chapter 42. True Friends Support Each Other. Summary. Izuku struggles with not being able to tell his friends about All for One. Then a weird sludge thing happens. Izuku, aged 14. Young man, are you aware that loitering is a crime? Hey, Toya. Izuku rolls his eyes as he turns to his cousin. Long time no see. Yeah, tell me about it. Toya reaches out to ruffle Izuku's hair. Then, however, the smile slips from his face as he glances around the empty area. Izuku, is everything all right? What? Izuku frowns and opens his mouth to protest, and then stops and looks away, because it isn't. Because he's been avoiding his friends for the past week. After all, how can he possibly face them? He can't tell them what he's learned about his papa, but he was so sure he would never have to keep secrets from them again, and it's why he's out here. Because he's taken to just wandering Tokyo, observing quirks, and ignoring the numerous confused texts on his phone. After all, how the fuck do you tell your best friends, who all want to be heroes, that your father is a retired villain? I thought so. Toya sighs and places a hand on Izuku's shoulder. Look, Izuku, if things aren't great at home, or whatever, you can come stay with us, no questions asked. Thanks, but Izuku manages to smile. But it's nothing like that, just a lot on my mind. Is it because there's a girl you like? Toya asks. No! A boy? 'Cause none of us would have a problem with it if it was. I'm not in love, Izuku sighs. Just found out some stuff about my family. Not great stuff. Ah. The eldest son of Endeavour nods his head and quirks a smile. Can't imagine what that's like. Come on, I'll walk you home, and just think about texting Choto, okay? Okay, Izuku agrees, even though he knows he probably won't do it. But they're not exactly close to home, and it's been a while since he saw Toya, so he asks, how's work? Boring, mostly, Toya chuckles. I just wander about, trying to be useful. Most of the time it's just running towards big bangs and getting people to evacuate while the heroes do the work. Hell, I've not even made a single arrest. Every time I think I have the chance, Hawk swoops in. Hawks? Izuku perks up at the mention of the popular hero. Then something occurs to him. Wait, isn't he based in Fukuoka? I know! Toya exclaims. But apparently he keeps having to come up to Tokyo. Though at least he buys me coffee. Maybe he has a crush on you. Right. Toya rolls his eyes. A super popular, super talented hero has the hots for me. Pull the other one. Izuku decides he really doesn't want to argue about this, especially not right now. Well, could you get me an autograph? Yeah, sure, Toya shrugs. Hey, if you wanna— Look out! He shoves Izuku sideways, and surprised, Izuku goes tumbling down the embankment into the canal. He chokes on water and kicks his way to the surface. Then he looks back where he came from and gasps, because there's some big, slimy thing that seems to be attacking Toya. The officer is obviously putting up a fight, but the faint flickers of flame don't last long against the weird liquid sludge. And the sludge, it's laughing. Don't panic. Izuku kicks his way to the opposite bank and pulls himself back onto land. Don't panic, don't panic, don't. He almost bursts into tears when he pulls out his phone because it's not working. And when he looks over to his cousin, he's still struggling, but he can't last much longer. Izuku needs to get help. He can summon a hero. Yes, he'll summon a hero. They can save Toya and— Which hero? Izuku almost panics again. No, he needs to stay calm. There are so many heroes. There has to be at least one that can help. No, not Best Jeanist. The sludge isn't wearing clothes. All Might is doing some PR thing down in Okinawa, way out of range of summon. Ingenia? No, what good is speed against that thing? And Izuku can hardly summon all of his psychics. He almost screams when he realizes the sludge and Toya are moving and bites his tongue. Focus. If he can't think of a hero, he should think of a quirk. There has to be a quirk capable of helping, and then there'll probably be a hero with said quirk. But his mind keeps drawing a blank, and Izuku curses and starts running towards the bridge, because if there isn't a hero that can help, then he has to do something himself. If he uses his quirk, then maybe... He almost trips as an idea occurs to him. Maybe he doesn't need one quirk. Maybe he needs 4. He grits his teeth and activates Summon, praying that this will work, that they'll still trust him. What the... Hitoshi gasps as he materializes. Izuku? Tenya looks around, confused, his pen still in his hand. Shoto doesn't say anything, just hurriedly buckles his belt, his face beet red. Toya! Izuku gasps, and he realizes he's almost hyperventilating, but there's no time to stop, to breathe, so he grabs Hitoshi and starts running towards the bridge again. Trouble! There's some sort of sludge! We have to help him! What? Shoto chokes out, and Izuku glances over to find his friend has gone pale. Then, Shoto shakes his head and overtakes them all. Shouldn't we call the authorities? Tenya asks. There's a loud explosion up ahead. I think they already know, Hitoshi yells. Izuku pushes himself. He can see Shoto just ahead, and a part of him feels terrible for his friend. The other, however, is already planning, because he knows his friend's quirks as well as he knows All for One, and he can work with them. He can use them. He can save Toya if it's not too late. Toya! Shoto screams up ahead. Then Izuku, Hitoshi, and Tenya emerge onto the street. It's absolute pandemonium. There are cars piled up on the street, several of them on fire. People are running, screaming, and the heroes aren't doing anything, just trying to get people clear of the area. Shoto is struggling against death arms, desperate to get to his brother, and there, in the middle of the street, is Toya, still fighting, still struggling, desperate to breathe. And none of the heroes. Why aren't they saving him? Come on! Izuku ducks behind a van so the pros won't see them. He activates Summon, and the minute they can, Tenya grabs Shoto, and Hitoshi covers his mouth. Tell me you've got a plan? Hitoshi gasps, wide-eyed. Plan? Yes. Izuku needs a plan. Tenya, get as far from here as you can, he tells his best friend. He almost cries, because despite everything, despite not speaking for a week for no apparent reason, Tenya just nods and takes off. But there's no time for that, so he closes his eyes and, with a wince, reaches out and takes Toya's quirk. It's the right thing to do, because his cousin could hurt someone, and he'd absolutely hate that. But Izuku still feels so incredibly dirty. What? Where did it go? A creepy voice yells. Izuku will give it back when this is all over. There's no other option. He's not keeping Toya's quirk. Hitoshi, I need you to get that sludge away from his mouth, he tells his friend. Shoto, as soon as you can, freeze as much of it as you can. Roger, Hitoshi nods. Then he takes a deep breath and steps out from behind the van. Hey, Slimy! We are so going to be grounded, Izuku mutters to Shoto, who manages a weak smile. Then they break cover. The minute he sees Toya's mouth clear, Izuku activates Summon. At the same time, a massive amount of ice shoots from behind a car, turning much of the sludge into a huge block of ice. Hey, you! Death Arms yells as he turns to where Shoto is obviously hiding. Izuku doesn't really wait, because he takes off even as he activates Summon. He hears shouts behind him, but he doesn't slow. His throat is starting to itch, and he is going to be grounded until he's 50, but he can't help but smile, because he hasn't felt this light in forever. Izuku is about halfway home when someone grabs him and drags him into an alley. He almost summons Makia, but then he turns and finds himself face to face with Tenya and Hitoshi. Shoto has gone to the police station with Toya, Tenya informs him, even as Hitoshi passes him a bottle of tea. We should all expect to be contacted within the next day to provide statements. I'll get Papa to call his lawyers, Izuku winces. But no one else was doing anything, and we only used our quirks because we were afraid for Toya's life, and we left immediately after, so we should get off with a warning. His friends exchange glances, and Izuku feels his stomach drop. Of course, he knows he needs to talk to them, but how the fuck should he even begin? He isn't ready to tell them about All for One. He's almost desperate enough to use Summon to buy himself a few more hours. No, Izuku, that is not the appropriate response. He's going to be a hero, so he needs to be brave, and tell his friends, and... You're hiding something, Hitoshi states firmly. Izuku whimpers. Izuku, we are your friends, Tenya reminds him. And this past week, we have missed you. Sorry, Izuku sniffs, because he missed them too, and he wants them to still be his friends, but he isn't ready. He can't tell them, and what if they hate him? What if they hate him for keeping secrets and ignoring them and... It's okay. Hitoshi suddenly hugs him. Whatever it is, we don't care. We will wait until you're ready, Tenya joins him. Just like with your quirk. Just, please, do not pull away. Izuku would like it noted that he has the best friends in the universe. Oh, and his tears are completely justified. Chapter 43. Prioritize. Summary. It's time for the UA entrance exam. Izuku, aged 15. What do you mean you're not coming? I'm not coming, Hitoshi retorts. You know, not coming. If I say it in English, will you understand? Yes, but it's UA! Izuku exclaims, ignoring the numerous odd looks he's getting from the other applicants. You have to come! The silence on the other end of the phone speaks volumes. Izuku can practically hear the eye roll. Hitoshi! Look, Izuku. Hitoshi sighs, and Izuku snaps his jaw shut, because he knows that tone. Hitoshi is about to make himself vulnerable, and that is something he only does around a select few people. Not even Tenya or Shoto can claim that honor. We know my quirk's not flashy, or destructive. There is no way for me to pass using brainwashing, and if I get into the hero course, I want to do it using my quirk. So, I'm not coming, 'cause there's no point bringing myself down with nothing to show for it. I'll work hard, and I'll just have to do my best at the sports festival. Alright, fine, Izuku grumbles. But you're winning the sports festival, even if I have to fight it for... Wait, that won't work. Thanks, Izuku, Hitoshi chuckles. And good luck. For a split second after hanging up, Izuku smiles. Then he makes the mistake of looking up at UA, and the panic comes flooding back. Holy shit, this is a terrible idea. He's primarily a strategist, and the quirk that he's planning to use is still fairly new to him. And besides, he's the son of a villain. Surely UA can tell, somehow? Maybe through DNA or something? He can't do this. He's going to be sick. What if he forgot something and... Izuku! A familiar voice exclaims, and strangely enough, seeing Tenya's frowning face helps Izuku remember to breathe. It is most irresponsible. Are you alright? No, Izuku gasps, and he attracts his phone into his other hand, and back to the first hand, and over again. The repetitive motion and the comfort that his mum's quirk provides help him calm down. And, like the wonderful friend he is, Tenya does not comment. He simply falls into step next to Izuku and launches into a comforting tirade. Shoto arrived only 5 minutes ago. It is most irresponsible of you both to arrive so close to the beginning of the exam. Anything could have happened to delay you. I called you, of course, but you did not respond. Is your phone battery dead? If you need to recharge it, I made sure to pack the appropriate lead. And, should you need it, I also brought a second pencil case. Did you remember to go to sleep early last night? Because you appear tired. Perhaps you should look into replacing your mattress. I have heard that an uncomfortable mattress can lead to a disturbed sleep. I hope you remember to eat breakfast, because if needed, I brought a few energy bars. I am afraid they are not the most nutritious, but... Tenya! Izuku interrupts his best friend as they file into the large auditorium. I love you, but you can shut up now. And Kurogiri made muffins. Tenya huffs, but the small smile on his face makes it clear that he isn't offended. They head to their seats, and Izuku lets out a relieved laugh when they realise they're sitting next to each other. He twists in his chair and spots Shoto a few rows back, his hair dyed white. He elbows Tenya and they both wave at their friend, who smiles and raises his hand in acknowledgement. Then, Izuku recognises the teenager sitting next to him and smiles at Bakugo. Bakugo scoffs and turns his head. Izuku just shrugs it off, because the boy is probably just nervous, and he is too, although, weirdly enough, even as the lights go off, his anxiety is nowhere near as bad as before. He supposes sitting next to his best friend helps. Hello, everybody! Present Mike emerges from the backstage and takes his place on the podium. Welcome to today's live performance! Everyone say hey! Hey! Izuku laughs. Hey! Shoto calls out. Everyone else twists to stare at them. Thank you, my dear listeners! Present Mike beams. I'm here to present the guidelines of your practical. Are you ready? Yeah? Yes! Yeah. Please stop. Tenya groans as he hides his face in his hands. Izuku just treats him to a beaming smile and settles in. He doesn't need Present Mike to explain how the exam will go. He's familiarized himself with the details and might have seen a few videos of it. Apparently, his father just happened to be visiting UA the year before during the entrance exam and got lost on his way out, and somehow acquired recorded footage of 2 of the test areas. Izuku is not going to consider the legalities of that, especially since it was very helpful. So Izuku has come up with what he hopes is a decent plan. To avoid temptation and the threat of people noticing something odd, he's limited himself to 3 quirks. And summon, because Papa is paranoid. And he took his time deciding on those quirks. He can do this, he assures himself as they start filing out of the room. He can do this, he tells himself as they change into their sports clothes. He can do this, he repeats as they head to their assigned testing grounds. Holy crap, I can't do this, he blurts out to Shoto, terrified. You'll be fine, his friend smiles at him, although he looks pretty nervous too. Just imagine you're practicing with your dad. Yeah, Izuku can do that. He can pretend this is not the single most important event of his life. But don't take this the wrong way. Shoto takes a deep breath. I think we should separate. I spoke with Tenya before, and if we're together, well, we can't switch. And we'll just be distracted worrying about each other, so... Yeah, Izuku nods reluctantly. He's thought it over himself, and come up with all the same arguments Shoto has. I'll go left? I'll go right, Shoto nods. And good luck. Begin! Izuku bolts, almost on instinct. He hears the other students behind him, confused, and Present Mike, but he doesn't slow down. He needs to ensure he has a decent head start, especially since he decided a speed quirk would be too risky. If he puts enough distance between himself and the competition, he'll get first crack at the robots. And then, almost as if in answer to his prayers, a robot comes crashing through a nearby building. Izuku smiles as he ducks out of its way, slips under it and out the other side, activates Amplify, and attracts a large chunk of cement straight through the fragile one-pointer. He can't help but laugh as he sets off again. He knew he wanted to have attraction during the exam, and using it against robots seemed like the best solution. Not only will it provide a good cover going forward, but he also wants his mum here. He wants her to see him, to see how much he's grown. He wants his mum to see him ace this test and get into his dream school. He spots 2 3-pointers and charges straight at them. He ducks out of the way of the first at the last second, almost trips as he scrambles into position, and clenches his teeth as he attracts them into each other. The effort leaves him winded, but he can't help but laugh as he surveys the destroyed robots. As the exam continues, he starts seeing more and more other contestants. It's annoying, especially as Amplify is pretty draining, but he tries to be positive. He has a decent lead on them, and at least they're leaving lots of debris lying around for him to use. But still, by the time they're nearing the end, he's breathing heavily. He doesn't think he has it in him to do much more. He hopes that he has enough points. The other contestants have all caught up. He doesn't think he has the energy or time to go to an area where there might be a few robots left, and he's not quite desperate or dumb enough to use summon on everybody else. And then the ground shakes, heralding the arrival of the 0-pointer. Izuku groans as he turns, and then he just stares at the massive thing. Holy crap! UA is actually using this? He saw it before, of course, from a distance, but seeing it for real, in person, just drives home how massive it is. And of course, all the other applicants are fleeing as fast as possible. Hell, even Izuku is tempted to join in their hasty retreat. But he doesn't, because if he can get past the bot, there might be a few last robots left there. He just needs to figure out a solution that does not result in him getting squashed like a bug and... Ow! Izuku almost screams when he realizes there's a girl right there. Just for a second, he wonders whether she's actually a mannequin or robot, or perhaps another part of the exam. But there wasn't anything like that on the recordings he saw. And what if she isn't? What if she's just a person in danger? What if UA doesn't know that she's right in the path of a massive robot? What if she's seriously injured and summoning her just makes matters worse? Izuku isn't powerful enough to be able to take down the zero-pointer. But there's a person in danger and Izuku wants to save people. He curses and activates summon. Shoto frowns as he appears next to him. Freeze it! Izuku shouts as he spins his friend around. Shoto's eyes widen as he takes in the robot and the injured girl. And then he's sprinting forward, teeth clenched and eyes determined. Izuku doesn't even look his way. He heads straight for the girl. Grateful he kept one of the healing quirks Papa gave him. He just needs Sho to buy him a few seconds. The girl isn't seriously hurt, thankfully. Just a few scrapes and a sprained ankle. Izuku has her fixed up in seconds. And then he looks up. Cold enough for you? Shoto pants. Izuku just laughs as he takes in the massive glacier covering the robot. I am here! All Might grins as he bursts into the room. To see the principal! Shut up, All Might! Midnight hisses, just as Present Mike throws his arms up with a cheer. Go, Izuku! Go, go! At least pretend you're impartial, Eraserhead sighs from the seat next to him. But Shota! Look at him! Mike beams. And he cheered earlier! You're right. That's an automatic fail. All Might doesn't pay attention to the bickering couple. Instead, he smiles, pleased because up there on the screen is young Midoriya. He seems to possess some sort of levitation quirk, and is using it to great effect against the robots. The gathered teachers are all focused on the screens, so All Might takes the opportunity to linger. He watches with a smile as the lad defeats robot after robot, and wonders how Hisashi Did Midoriya just use another quirk? No, of course not, All Might scoffs internally. The boy must have... The boy with an ice quirk teleported. As he watches Midoriya help the girl up, All Might feels a pit open in his stomach. He's not smiling anymore. Chapter 44. You'll figure it out. Summary. The boys get their acceptance letters. Izuku aged 15. It's here! Tensei grins as he holds out the envelope and waits. And waits. And... Tenya, are you all right? He asks his brother. The teenager has not moved from his seat at the dining table and seems to be watching him, almost with fear. Of course, Tenya nods, but doesn't move from his chair. Tensei frowns and stares at his brother, and his brother stares back. He suspects he might know what the problem is, but he isn't entirely sure how to approach it. But then he reminds himself that he is duty-bound to help. He is Tenya's older brother and a successful pro-hero. And when it comes to figuring things out, he's learned from the best. Come on, he grins, and motions for Tenya to follow him into the living room. And, true to form, although reluctant, his brother does not run away. Tensei sighs as he settles under the sofa, and, for a minute, he just stares at his baby brother. Because he can remember when he was Tenya's age, and so incredibly excited at the prospect of a younger sibling. He remembers getting woken up in the middle of the night in that mad rush to the hospital. And, above everything else, he remembers holding a tiny, rather red Tenya for the first time. And crying. His parents never let him forget that he burst into tears the minute Tenya opened his perfect little eyes to look at him, which was not a smart move, because then Tenya started crying, and Tensei almost had a panic attack because he thought he'd hurt his baby brother. His mother still laughs about it. But now his baby brother isn't a baby anymore. However, now is not the time to get teary-eyed. He ruthlessly steels himself. He has a mission, which he will complete successfully, and then he will go grab the family album and marvel at how adorable his brother was. It's normal to be nervous, Tensei assures his brother. I'm sure you did fine. I suppose. Tenya shrugs. Then he hesitates and asks quietly, What if I didn't? Then there's Shiketsu, Tensei shrugs. Or Ketsubutsu, or Seijun. UA isn't the only school out there. But won't you be disappointed? Is that what this is about? Tensei snorts. I mean, yeah, we'd be sad, but it's not the end of the world. We'll get over it, and we'll all still love you just as much. Yes, but you went to UA, and so did father. And mother completed an apprenticeship in Osaka, Tensei points out. The school you go to doesn't determine how good a hero you'll be. That's entirely up to you. And between you and me, Tenya, I think you've got it in you to be one of the best. Really? Really, Tensei chuckles. I mean, you've always been such a kind, caring boy. You worry about the rules a little too much, but you can work on that. But you're also smart and generous, and you're brave, Tenya. Probably braver than me. You don't shy away because something might be difficult. You try and you do your best, and that is something more heroes need to understand. But how can you know? Tenya frowns. Because I've seen it. His brother just shrugs. When you were 4, Mother decided we needed to explain what happened to Izuku's mum. I wasn't sure how to explain it, or even if you really understood. But it didn't matter. Because you were only really worried about Izuku and... But that was simply my duty as Izuku's friend, Tenya points out. There is nothing special about that. Tenya, you didn't even understand what death is. Tensei chuckled. But you cared about him. You wanted to help. And you tried. And that's what's so important about being a hero. And, you know, you were a hero. You were Uncle Hisashi's hero. You were my hero. I'm pretty sure you were Izuku's hero. You were there when he needed it most, even when you barely knew each other. And you've not changed, Tenya. You care about people. And that's not something they can teach you in school. So, whichever school you go to won't matter. You'll still be my hero. Tenya manages a watery smile. Then he takes a deep breath and reaches for the envelope. I can't hear anything. Is that bad? You can't hear anything because you keep whispering. Both of you, shut up! There have been many moments over the years that have made Rei so proud of her children. But right now, she really wishes they were better at eavesdropping. What if he's fainted? What if he's had a heart attack? Oh, for goodness sake, Toya! The bathroom door suddenly opens, sending all 4 of them tumbling onto the floor. Rei feels a brief twinge of sympathy for Natsuo, who ends up on the bottom, but there are more important matters at hand. Seriously? Shoto asks them with a sigh, although Rei is fairly certain there's a hint of amusement in his eyes. Besides, it would be rather hypocritical of him to expect otherwise. Rei can't help but remember Shoto and Natsuo almost tackling the postman for Fuyumi's acceptance letter. Well? Fuyumi asks, clearly unconcerned by her brother's censure. Did you get in? How did it go, darling? I can't breathe! Shoto stares down at them stoically for a few seconds. Then he grins. I'm in. Oh my gosh! Fuyumi shrieks and scrambles to hug her brother. Oh, darling! Rei laughs and wipes at her eyes as Toya helps her up. Congratulations. My baby brother is gonna be a hero. Sweet oxygen. The minute Fuyumi lets Shoto go, Rei embraces her youngest son. Then Toya commandeers the teen. Even Natsuo laughs and ruffles Shoto's head. My baby brother's going to save people. Toya sniffs and grabs a few tissues from his mother. I'm so proud of you, Shoto. Rei wishes she could take a picture of Shoto's face, because the joy in his eyes, it just reminds her of why she has no regrets. And any time she has a moment of doubt, she just has to remember moments like this. Remember how Toya had to struggle to hold back tears as they posed for a family photo at his graduation, Hisashi's hand on his shoulder. Remember Fuyumi proudly informing them that she had been given a full scholarship to university. Remember Natsuo's joy when he arrived home to find his siblings busy decorating a 4-tiered cake just for him. And now, remember Shoto's face. Hey, imagine what all your class will say, Natsuo laughs. You'll be the coolest teacher in the school, Fuyumi. I can be perfectly cool on my own, Fumi sniffs. And, Toya, don't you have a shift soon? Oh, crap, you're right. Toya gasps, and then he grins. Oh my gosh, wait until the guys at the station hear. Hey, when I get home, we should celebrate. Right. Shoto sighs. Toya's phone rings. Oh, it's Hawks, the policeman exclaims as he grabs his backpack. He flashes his family another grin as he answers. Hawks, guess what? My baby brother is going to UA. Shoto groans. No, Shoto's 15. Natsuo pats Shoto on the back as he buries his face in his hands. By the way, how did you get my number? Toya frowns. He waves at his family one last time and then hurries out of the apartment, and Ray wonders idly whether Hawks is a masochist. Then she decides that he's probably just incredibly intelligent and realized early on her eldest is a kind, caring individual, and he will never find anyone better than Toya, so he can't help but keep trying. After all, everyone has a few character flaws. Toya's is his low self-esteem. Hawks is probably making terrible choices in regards to pick-up lines. My professional reputation is ruined, isn't it? Shoto asks. Well, I am sure... Ray trails off as she turns back to her youngest son. How about I make us a nice cup of tea? Shoto gives her a look of absolute betrayal. Chin up, Shoto. Natsuo comes to the rescue. I'm sure you'll only have to save Tokyo a few dozen times before the police forget that they've seen your baby photos. Oh, God. Izuku, it's here, Kurogiri calls from the front door. Hisashi doesn't say anything as both Izuku and Gigantomachia come thundering down the stairs. He just watches with a smile as his son takes the envelope. He does frown when he sees Izuku hurry over to grab his shoes. Where are you going? He asks as Izuku pulls on those red monstrosities. He has learned, over the years, to pick his battles wisely. He could have sworn Izuku's first action would be to rip the envelope into shreds. He also ruthlessly squashes the feeling of hurt that his son might want to tell his friends the news first, rather than his father. Oh, Izuku flushes. I thought I'd open it with Mum. I want her to be the first to know. Hisashi freezes. The realization hits him with the force of a speeding train. That the person in front of him, this is no longer the timid boy that suffered bullying in silence, who cried when he got his quirk because he thought his papa would be mad. This is a young man, ready to spread his wings and start leaving the nest. And he is such a kind, wonderful person, and Hisashi doesn't know how it's possible they are related. How he did not warp him, did not screw him up in every possible way. Papa? He feels Izuku wrap his arms around him, and when did his son get so tall? Do you want to come with me? Yes, Hisashi chokes out. He hastily wipes the tears from his eyes and nods. Yes. Kurogiri warps them to the cemetery entrance, and the two of them quietly make their way through the rows of graves to the now familiar spot. Hisashi almost expects to see the familiar blonde in a nearby spot, but it seems they have the area to themselves. Hey, Mum. Izuku smiles as he stops. Grandpa, I got my letter from UA, so I thought you might want to know how I did. Don't worry, I didn't get hurt. I mean, I was kind of tired, but I just crashed for a little bit, and I was all better the next day. So, yeah, the letter. Yeah, here goes. He takes a deep breath and rips open the envelope. A small disc falls onto the ground. It immediately starts playing a recorded message, though the picture is rather fuzzy, distorted by the morning sun. It is I, Nezu beams. Am I a mouse? Am I a bear? Whatever I am the principal of UA. I am overjoyed to be able to say, welcome. Izuku chokes back a sob, and even Hisashi has to wipe back tears. Your performance during the entrance exam was impressive, but what truly made the decision easy was your actions when faced with an applicant in danger. You prioritized her safety over your own, came up with an admirable plan on the spot, and even displayed that you can work with others. These are all abilities we want from our students. And so, Izuku Midoriya, on top of your villain-based quirks, you will also be awarded 45 rescue points. Because, I am sure you have guessed by now, we do not simply look for sheer strength during the entrance exam. We are a school for heroes, after all, and the first duty of a hero is to save people. So, congratulations, Izuku Midoriya. You are now a student of UA High School. The recording ends, and Izuku laughs even as tears stream down his face, and, by the way, Nezu appears again. Could you kindly inform your father that he is no longer allowed on school grounds without first getting my explicit permission? I appreciate he was very excited about your entrance exam, but technically speaking, trespassing is illegal, and it would be rather hard for us to continue our monthly chess tournament if he is locked up in Tartarus. The principal vanishes again. Izuku lets out a loud snort, and suddenly Hisashi has his arms full of over-emotional teenager, and he laughs as he hugs his son, and maybe there are a few tears, because as they embrace in front of the grave, the moment is almost perfect. And when Izuku attracts the hologram disc, it truly is. Hey guys, it's Eleanor, and I hope you are all having a lovely day today. Oh my god, it's the end. That's it. I can't believe it. After 3 months of working on this fic, that it's finally over. I did cry a lot recording these last few chapters, especially this last one, but we don't need to talk about that. If you have listened to all of these thus far, thank you so much. I feel like we've been on quite the journey together, but if your heart is breaking so much at the idea of this ending, little to worry. There is in fact a sequel and several bonus one-shots, which I might do, possibly, depending on if you want it. Let me know if that's something you're interested in, but if I do them, it will be after a little bit of a break to work on some other long fics. I've got plans. Let's just say, baby, I'm a mastermind. I've been plotting, planning, scheming, and I've got ideas. Also, on another note, I did go straight home and get right onto recording these because I wanted to put them up so that I could thank you all, because whilst I was at work today, I got to see that we hit 1,000 subscribers. I did have to go into my work bathroom to cry a bit. You know what, today's just been an emotional day, what can we say? But honestly, I am so deeply grateful to every single person who has taken time out of their day to listen to these and enjoy them and care about them enough to subscribe and want to stick around and hear more. I am so grateful for every single one of you, and I would like to do something to celebrate 1,000. I don't know what to do though. Please tell me, what do you think would be cool? Please get into the comments, tell me what you think you would enjoy as some kind of celebration for 1,000, and I'll probably pick one of your suggestions again, which is what I did at 500 as well. But honestly, I really need the help. Help a girl out, please. But this outro has gone on far too long, so please be sure to like the video if you liked it and to boost my serotonin levels. Please go ahead and comment down below, gush about the fic, gush about anything. I just love talking to you guys. And subscribe if you want to be notified when I make new videos. But until I see you again, be sure to practice some self-care. Drink some water, brush your teeth, have a nice shower, don't skip your breakfast, get the adequate amount of sleep. And yes, this is definitely a threat. And I will catch you all laters.